Okay, so you have watched all my other videos about how to start your consulting business, and you are sitting there and you're like, CP, I did it all. I figured out my idea. I know my niche. I know my audience. I did my market research. I set up my business structure. I got my LLC, my address, my email, my phone. I've done it all. Now what? Yeah, exactly. So you started a consulting business, and now what?
How? I don't know.
What do you do next? What are the next steps? What should you be focused on now that you have established this consulting gig? And where do you go from here? Well, my love, don't fret, because that is exactly what I am going to talk to you about today. What do you do since you started that consulting business? Let's get to work. So you've taken the leap and started your own consulting business. Congratulations are definitely in order, but the work doesn't stop here. Trust me, you have come such a long way, but I am sure you are trying to figure out, now what? Now what do I do? Well, today I'm going to walk you through the essential next steps that you need to take after your business becomes official. From creating your marketing assets to building your online presence and so much more. Let's turn your startup into a money-making empire. Let's get to work. So now that you're official, the first thing that you really have to focus on is gathering your marketing assets. So let's talk about what your marketing assets are, because these are really your primary tools that you're going to need to build in your business, to build a brand, but to ultimately attract your customers and communicate with your clients. There are so many different marketing assets that might cross your mind when you're starting your business. Things like a logo and colors and photos and proposals and all of those things. And you're absolutely on target. But you can be completely overwhelmed when you are trying to figure out which ones should you prioritize from a financial perspective and resources, because a lot of them actually cost money to be able to create, and which ones are going to have the most impact as you begin building your business forward. Today, I'm going to make sure that you understand which marketing assets you're going to be focused on. And I want to break these down into three particular categories. The first category that you really need to focus on is your branding elements. Now, this is the one that most people, when you're starting your entrepreneurial journey, dive into even before you've started your business. You start thinking about your colors, you start thinking about your logo, because it's the fun stuff behind the business. But I caution you, if you've already done this work, to really start over, because if you've done all of the work that you need to do in your market research, identifying your ideal customer avatar, finding your perfect industry, then you're probably going to want to tweak what you've already put in place. And so branding elements include things like your logo, your business colors, your fonts that you're going to use. All of those things have a significant impact on your marketing. And you want to make sure that your logo, your fonts, and your colors aren't just your favorite or ones that you like, but ultimately ones that are going to attract the right customer. For instance, and give you an example. If you're a business that's starting and you want to say, let's sell children's books, then your colors and your logo are going to directly reflect the fact that you are targeting children, right? So you're going to use the bright primary colors, or even if you're targeting parents of children, if you're targeting parents of little girls, you might want to use pinks and peaches. All of those things should be incorporated into your overall branding elements. Even if your favorite color is black, right? Black will not be effective if you're trying to attract an audience that is going to be selling children's books. And that means that your colors, your logo needs to really be directly related to your market and to ultimately your customer. So you have to make sure that these things really do represent your brand's identity and are consistent across all platforms. So you guys will notice that Cheryl C. Perez brand's colors are usually, I have a coral, I have kind of a blue and a gray in there. And those are not my favorite colors. My favorite color happens to be red, but I chose those colors because I really am trying to attract a very specific entrepreneur. And generally, it does a great job at doing so. In addition to that, the consistency that I use in those colors is everywhere. From my social media posts to the colors that you see come across the screen here on CPTV, to even the pictures that I have behind me are branded colors. And that is something that you're going to need to begin to build since you've already started your business. The second thing is the materials that you're going to be looking at. That's like the second category. And the materials that you're going to want to start building are things like your business cards, any brochures that you may need depending upon your business, digital presentation templates like PowerPoints or proposals or folders, and then also any case studies or work that you're going to be using in order to be able to promote your businesses and your services. I recommend that you begin building kind of a template toolbox of all of those promotional materials, because that ensures that you're going to be consistent across the board. And the third category of things in this first step that you're going to want to look at that are usually not as consistent in what we think about that we need to prepare, but once you really start to build things, you realize that you need them, are going to be these other less thought of items, right? Your headshot. You absolutely 100% are going to need a headshot in your business, and it should be a part of your marketing toolkit. Your bio. If you don't already have a bio, you're going to want to take the time to ultimately create one. And there's definitely a science behind the headshot and bio thing, but you are going to want to add this to your marketing assets toolkit, as well as email signatures that are going to go on your email or even ultimately your website footer. All of these types of things are not usually what we think about when we're building our marketing arsenal, but they are going to be critical to you being able to move forward in the next steps on your journey now that you're official. Now, step number 2, after you've made your business official, that you really need to begin to work on is creating your online presence. Yes, your online presence really is your digital storefront, and it's the primary storefront for most businesses in 2024. Back in the day, your storefront may have been a brick and mortar on the street, local business, and that still might be the case for you. But even if you do have a storefront that's brick and mortar, you have to have a digital one as well. Otherwise, you are putting yourself out of business before you even get started. Now, your digital storefront includes 2 primary things. Your website. Yes, your website, and then also your social media platforms and profiles. This is where your clients are going to ultimately find you and interact with you online. And there are 2 primary pieces of this digital presence that I want you to focus on right now. Now, there's going to be a lot more later on as you continue to grow and continue to build and continue to ultimately move into that execution and growth stage of your entrepreneurial journey. But right now in this business planning stage, you are going to want to focus on these 2 things. Number 1, your website. Now, this is something that usually slaps you in the face as soon as you come up with your business idea. People usually go, oh my God, I want to start a business. And then the next step is, I got to build a website. Well, the reality is building your website can't happen until you've done the other stuff that I've talked about. That's why I said building your marketing assets in step 1 is really the first step, because you'll realize as you begin building your website that you're going to need all of those things in order to have a good website. You're going to need a headshot. You're going to need a bio. You're going to need your unique value proposition. You're going to need your colors and your fonts. You're going to need your footers. You're going to need your email signatures. You're going to need all of that stuff before you build this website. So that's why that's step 1 and this is step 2. Even if you've already jumped the gun and started building your website, I would definitely tell you to hold your horses a little bit. You do need to develop a professional website that includes your services, includes an about page, includes your contact information, and also includes any kind of freebies or call to actions or goals that you have ultimately set up for yourself as a website. Now, I oftentimes get the question from startup entrepreneurs, do I need a 10 or 20 page or huge website? And my answer is no. You can start really, really simply with a landing page if you want to, or just a couple of pages. The things that I really do recommend that you build, though, is definitely a services, how someone can work with you, a products page, an about page with your business that ultimately could be your home page as well. and then also a contact me page. And if you want to go a little bit deeper, add your blog or a video blog or some type of free assets or toolkit that people can ultimately access, like coupons or freebies or stuff like that on your website as well. So this is a big piece of creating your digital online presence. The second thing is your social media profiles. You cannot forget this. You need to have a social media presence. People are going to definitely look for your website as soon as you launch your business and you're getting ready to go and move forward, but they are also going to try to find you on social media. It is something that's completely unavoidable. So you want to build out your presence there as well. Set up a professional account on your key platforms, whether you have determined that Facebook and Instagram is going to be where you start as your primary platforms, or maybe it's going to be YouTube, or maybe it's going to be LinkedIn. Regardless, build a professional account there and begin to put in all of the key elements of a bio, your profile picture, a description of who you are, link it back to any other resources or tools, including your website, and then ultimately begin to kind of post content relevant to your target audience and establish your expertise and begin engaging. This is also, if you haven't launched yet, which most of you in this stage may or may not be at that point, this is going to be where you're going to officially launch, right? Social media has begun to replace the old school ribbon cutting at the front. So the first post might be that you're launching your business, and you want to make sure that you have it set up behind the scenes so that when you do that, you're able to capture your audience and they're able to see exactly who you are. Now, the third thing that I want you to focus on now that you've started this business and you are already official is going to be to finalize your minimum value product, or your MVP, and your pricing. Your minimum value product is, a basic product that you can put out there and begin to test and beta with your audience. Yes, you have probably come up with an amazing idea around what you want to sell, a product or a service, but there is no guarantee that the first one that you put out is going to be your final one. As a matter of fact, the first one that you put out is probably not going to be your final one. And that has been the case for even large businesses. So I want you to think of it like this. You don't have to have a perfect product in order to move forward. Actually, I would recommend that you have a minimum but valuable, that's what MVP stands for, product to begin with, because you want to put it out there, you want to refine it, you want to test it out, you want to beta it, you want to make sure that you have checked in with your audience to see what you need to change or tweak or how much they would pay for it. And this is where your final pricing and your final product strategy is going to come into place. But you want to begin that process, all right? So this is kind of the next thing that you focus on. Putting out a minimum value product, testing it out, getting feedback, refining it, refining your pricing structure. And the best way to do that is really going to be to ask your audience what they're willing to pay, if the price that you threw out there is a good one, and then also taking into consideration some other pricing strategies that I can't really get into here in this particular video, but I think I have talked about it before on CPTV, so you can make sure you check out that video. But involving what your customers are pricing, considering your target market's budget, all of those things are going to help you establish your pricing model, and this is a big piece of something that you need to focus on after you've become official. So step number 3 is important, but I would tell you that imperfect action is better than no action at all. So just put out your minimum value product with the price that you think is going to be a good one, get the feedback, test it, beta it, come back, refine it, and continue to tweak until you come up with the perfect finished product. And the final step in "so I started a business, now what?" that I want you to be thinking about is creating your business plan. This is the last thing in this stage that I really want you to do. And you really have to have already done your marketing assets, build your online presence, and then also really tested that MVP before you can get to the business plan. I talk to entrepreneurs every single day, multiple times a day, guys. I do, obviously. And when I do, sometimes I'm talking to folks who haven't even really set up their business structure and they're already talking about a business plan, or haven't even set up an online presence, or haven't tested their minimum value product and are already talking about a business plan. A business plan is going to be very difficult for you to do, to put together, and to ultimately implement if you aren't already at the point where you know your audience, you've done your market research, you've finalized your business idea, you've set up your business structure, and you've got the basics in place. So oftentimes when I meet entrepreneurs that tell me that they can't figure out how to put a business plan together, I usually know, number one, that they're trying to put together a business plan that is too complicated and that they won't be able to implement, but also they're not ready for the business plan because they haven't done all of the foundational work that needs to be done before you get to this point. That is why, my loves, this is the last step in the "so you started a business, now what" conversation, because you gotta have all the information in order to be able to put it in a plan, in order to be able to forecast financially, in order to be able to set up your operational processes like your sales process and your service process. You gotta have all of the foundational pieces laid. So solidifying your business plan and your strategy with a detailed business plan is absolutely crucial. It is. It is so important. But this is the piece where you are figuring out your final strategy. You're determining what your goals are. You're doing your financial planning. You're doing your operations strategy, and you're figuring out your marketing strategy that you're going to plow forward with. And it's going to be very difficult for you to put together the perfect business plan if you haven't done the foundational work. So when I'm talking about the strategy and goals, this is where you're going to outline your business strategy, your short-term goals and your long-term goals. You're going to include your financial projections and your budgets and your funding strategy, so you know how much this business is going to cost. I get you guys talking to me all the time about needing initial business capital, and they're like, "Can you help me get money for my business?" And I'm like, "Well, how much do you need?" And they're like, "I don't know."
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? How are you asking for money and you don't even know how much you need? That's usually an indication that they haven't done the business plan or any kind of financial planning. And then you also got to put together your operations strategy, identifying how you will market, sell, and deliver your products and services. This is where all of the processes come into play. You got to think those out, and that is why having a business plan is so important. Okay, so let's recap these steps, because you are at the point where you have started a business, and now what? First, you've got to gather all of your marketing assets, make your final decisions around what those marketing assets are going to look like, and plow forward. Second, you've got to create your online presence. That includes building your website and setting up your social media platforms and profiles so that you are ready to scream from the rooftops when you are putting this business out there. And then third, after you started your business and officially set it up, you've got to get your business plan all the way together. Yes, my love, by following these steps, you'll not only set your consulting business and your service-based business on a path to success, but you'll also ensure that it's going to thrive and it's going to be in a position for you to get your first customers and clients after your launch and start making money and seeing the fruits of your labor. Remember, the journey of entrepreneurship is a marathon, okay? It is not a sprint. But if you stay dedicated, you will see the results of all of your hard work. Trust me, I have done it, I am doing it, and it is true. So if you found this training helpful, of course, make sure that you give me a like, that you subscribe, that you tune back in next week. And until next time, my loves, I will see you really, really, really soon. Bye-bye. Mwah!